Just getting started in the world of Enshrouded, here are 20 helpful tips that will help in your adventures. Lots of containers and set pieces in the world will have materials that you can use in your adventure, so smash everything you come across. You never know what you might find. While you don't need food and water to survive in Enshrouded, they do both provide you with helpful buffs. So you should always try to keep yourself fed if you can, and if you come across a well that has water in it and allows you to take some, you should collect it as often as possible. Water's kind of a pain in the butt to collect in this game. It's not readily available until later on when you can build yourself a well. And while at first you're only going to use it for a buff, it will later be useful for crafting as well. Honey is a really useful food buff as it gives you a huge stamina boost early on in the game. You can collect them from these beehives, but watch out for the bees that might swarm out of them because they don't really appreciate you stealing their honey. If you do piss off some bees and they're chasing you down, the torch is a great weapon to get rid of them with. One of the first things you'll be tasked with is building a flame altar. The flame altar claims a limited area that you can use for building. While the starting build area is only about 40 cubed, you can upgrade that in the altar itself using shroud cores in order to increase the amount of space you have to build with. This is also where you'll strengthen your flame to improve how long you can last inside of the shroud, and will also increase the number of flame altars you can have active at any one time. This is also where you reset skill points if you decide that you picked something you didn't like. If you want to get rid of a flame altar, just click on Extinguish Flame, and you'll get a 30-second timer, at the end of which the flame altar will disappear. When you're holding your hammer, you can see the limits of the space you can build within around your flame altar. This is a cube, so you're limited both up and down in addition to the line that you see around. This is most visible at nighttime. You can actually see the ceiling area and the walls, the corner, are these faded walls that rise up out of the ground. When you're ready to start building, you'll need a workbench and your hammer, of course. Within here, you have to first build the construction blocks that you intend to make something with. You probably will need a lot of them if you're going to build anything of any real size. And then your hammer can be used to build any of the structures you might want. If you hold down Alt, you can see the list of all the different types of pieces you can build with, including walls, stairs, roof pieces, and there's also terrain blocks in here you can work with as well. Not only does the flame altar define the limit of where you can build, but it's also the only space that won't reset when you restart the game. Everything outside the protective area of the flame altar will reset when you restart the game, or if it's not accessed by a player for an extended period of time, including all of the resources and treasure chests that might be present there. Once you get to the point that you can build yourself a well, you can actually end up with an infinite supply of water. Once you scoop all the water out of your well, you can simply pick it up, and then place it back down again. It'll have water in it immediately. You can scoop out some more. If you'd like to dig in the ground for building, you could use your pickaxe and dig a hole, but it's kind of a long process. You will get a lot of resources doing it, but it takes a while. Alternatively, you can use your hammer in construction mode, choose a terrain block, and then just by right-clicking, you can dig out the ground yourself automatically. The larger the block you choose, the more terrain you can dig out at one time. This is really helpful for building basements and things, but you'll find that you don't actually get a lot of resources when you break the ground this way. So if you're trying to get dirt or rock, it's probably better just to use your tools. Rig is more useful than it might seem at first. Sure, it can be useful for flattening out the ground when you want to build in a particular area. But you can also use it for spreading out player-created blocks. For example, if I put down this block of farm dirt for growing crops, I can then use the rake to spread out the dirt in the area that I'm working in, basically getting free dirt. This works for other type of terrain blocks too. Don't overlook the rested buff. It gives you a huge increase to your stamina and also boosts the regeneration rate. You can improve how long the rested buff will last by improving the comfort level of your base. For example, I'm at level 17 here for the comfort in my base, and my timer is at 27 minutes now. In a pinch, you can put down a campfire while you're traveling, though, if you want to just recover your rested buff quickly. It won't last as long as the buff from your home base if you've improved your comfort level at all, but it's still useful when you're out traveling to get a short duration buff. If you need twigs for crafting, you can certainly get them by scavenging, but you could also just take a pickaxe, find a wolf den or a pig den, and mine all the twigs you might need. You can get quite a few of them pretty quickly this way. Later on, when you have access to farming, you can plant shrubs that will allow you to quickly gain twigs also. If you're using a bow in the game and all, you're going to use a lot of these things. The wand can be a really strong weapon in the game, particularly early game, because it doesn't require any ammo, and it hits pretty hard. You should definitely craft it. The double jump skill is pretty much a must-have for everyone. Regardless of what else you might pick in the skill tree, this is the one you definitely want to have. It makes it a lot easier to navigate around the map, but you can jump a lot higher. This will also help you reach things you might not be able to reach otherwise. One of the resources you'll need fairly early on for crafting is resin. You can find some of it just by chopping down random trees, but the drop rate is pretty small. You'll collect much more resin if you can find these fall-looking trees that have the orange or yellowish colored leaves. These ones pretty much have a guaranteed drop of resin, and often there's multiple of them. If If you're out adventuring and your inventory fills up, you can fast travel home easily enough just by hitting the map, going to your home point, and choosing fast travel. If you want to be able to get back to where you are quickly though, just throw down a flame altar. That way you can teleport home, drop off your supplies, or get your rested buff back, then return to this point, and then when you're finished with the flame altar, you can extinguish the flame to claim it back again if you want to. When you're exploring and opening chests and killing enemies, you're going to collect some weapons and armor that you don't need. The weapons can be salvaged in order to get runes. These runes can then be used to upgrade your other equipment. The number of upgrades available will depend on the quality level of the equipment that you're trying to upgrade. Armor, unfortunately, does not provide you with any runes when you break it down. You can't craft directly from resources you might have stored in a chest nearby at your base. But later you'll be able to build these magic chests, and those will let you store resources and craft directly without putting them in your inventory first. Are the bugs of the Shroud being a nuisance? You can stop them from spawning by destroying their little spawners here with your felling axe. One of the earlier crafting resources you'll need is flintstone. There's a pretty good deposit right here near the starting area, just below where you come out from the cinder vault. There should be enough flintstone here to satisfy all your flintstone needs. You'll find salt deposits on the side of the rock. They look a little bit like this crystalline structure here. Later on, you're going to need access to clay. It looks like this orange bubbly stuff here that you can find on rocks and in the ground. Usually, this is just the start of the deposit. Once you dig into it, there will be a whole lot more under the surface. Copper looks kind of similar to the clay, but it's got a bit of a different color pattern to it. Copper starts to show up as you get closer to the Revelwood. Amber can be found in the Shroud in the rocks. It'll look like this. There's a pretty good sized deposit of this just to the east of the Revelwood Spire. There's also a pretty big deposit of amber just below the spire here against the rock wall. Eventually you'll want some tin to combine with your copper to make bronze as well. You'll find that out much farther out east. In the sort of desert plains out here. Tin looks like this stuff. Those are just a few helpful tips to get you started in Enshrouded and hopefully make your adventures a little bit more successful. You can find some live stream recordings on my channel if you'd like to enjoy some of the adventures I've had in Enshrouded, but you can also come and join a live stream yourself. Click on the subscribe button, come and hang out with us sometime.